to Emerge the Radio Show. I'm Dorothea Schuler, and I'm so glad you decided to join us. On this week's show, we'll be speaking with James Rosseau of the Core Link Solution and Thomas Dudley of Dudley's Driving School. And of course, a little later on, we'll be making a divine decision with me, Dorothea. And we'll hear Deshana drop some jewels as she gives us her 2 cents on finance. But first up, like we always do around this time, we'll hear some amazing tips from Tiffany to help you emerge as a CEO. So come on, let's tiptoe over with Tiffany into the CEO's Corner.
Emerge yourself.
You've made it to the CEO Corner, the only place where you will get tips on how to live your best CEO life and emerge to the next level. CEOs, what's the word? How are you doing? Let me know. DM me at tiffany.m.boyle. Tell me how you stay productive. I know as a CEO, we need to think through decisions and then we have to execute because those decisions have to turn into realities that produce results. So as a CEO, we have to think about how we lead our company. Are we leading it towards growth or success or ultimate ruin? No pressure. At the same time, we have to manage people and our personal life. So how do you get anything done? How do we CEOs stay productive? Productivity has made many sides. Take out the pen and paper and write down these tips on how to stay productive. 1, don't get lost in meetings. We all have meeting after meeting after meeting. Ensure they are efficient, have an agenda, and have a purpose. 2, eliminate interruptions. If you're in your office, close your door, set specific times to check or answer emails, set boundaries. 3, create a routine and stick to it. Like me, I wake up, I read my devotions, I work out, hopefully, maybe clean a little. Then when I get to work, I create a to-do list first thing in the morning. We can get into to-do lists like creations in another CEO meeting because I do like to-do lists on top of to-do lists on top of to-do lists, so it takes up a whole segment. Then I put times next to my tasks, then I execute. So CEOs, remember the word for the day is productivity. And I'm Tiffany Boyle, and that's my tip from the CEO Corner.
Emerge yourself.
Hello, everybody. We are here today with James Rosseau. Did I say it right?
Rosseau. You got it right the first time. My wife says Rosseau. Yeah, my wife always corrects me. Rosseau.
Oh, Rosseau.
I like that. Rosseau. Yeah. It sounds French.
Yeah. I've deferred to her at this point.
Yeah, it is a French last name. So yeah, I would believe. I would go with your wife on that one.
Exactly.
Well, we are excited to have you today. And can you just let us know a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm the founder of the Core Link Solution, the CEO of Holy Culture. More important, I'm a believer in Christ. I am father, husband of 26 years, and now a grandfather coming up on a year, and author, former executive in a number of different companies that now chooses to live in his purpose work and do a little board work on the side.
Nice. That was a lot.
It was. I love that you started off with being a believer. So we definitely know that part. Awesome. I am as well. And it's not a secret here at Emerge. So definitely shout out.
There you go.
So the first company that you said was what again?
The Core Link Solution. Mm-hmm.
Core Link Solution. So tell us what Core Link Solution does.
Sure. The Core Link Solution's mission is to revitalize communities by empowering people to reach their potential. We do that through both the Core Link Solution brand, where we have learning and development programs, and the Holy Culture brand, where we have faith and arts. And so where people usually see us is mostly on Holy Culture side right now, because we recently launched a channel on SiriusXM. We've had Holy Culture Radio for almost 20 years, but we've continued to build it out. And what we do is use Holy Culture Radio as the attraction mechanism, if you will, Christian hip hop, to draw people in. I call it a soundtrack of healing, hope, and how-tos. And when we get them to that how-to, we really focus on 4 pillars: faith, art, vocation, and education. And that's where the Core Link Solution brand also comes back into play when we talk about vocation and education. Did I lose you guys?
No, you didn't. We're just like taking it all in, because that's definitely a lot and very impactful of what you're doing.
What Tiffany just said, my mind is blown. I was almost speechless. I was trying to find a question within all of that information you gave us just about this company. When you say education, what exactly are you guys presenting or educating people on? I want to know that.
Well, we have our own curriculum called Success on Your Own Terms. It was birthed out of a book that I wrote and that was published in 2014. It's a Success on Your Own Terms, 6 promises to fire up your passion, ignite your career, and create an amazing life. And those 6 promises start with helping people find their passion and purpose, right? Really peeling back, understanding your gifts and talents, how you hone them, nurture them, and then follow these other promises to live it out. And so that's what we do on the education side. And then we're a big proponent of, we don't have to create everything. So we also work with other partners to help get people to the right place. So I'm a huge believer in being a lifetime learner, if that makes sense. And so when I told you about those 4 pillars as an example, faith, art, vocation, and education, the 4th one is really a constant through all 3 of those things. Even if you have faith, you should keep learning and going deeper, right? I don't know how many of us may have been Christians for 20 something years. Every time you read the Bible, you learn something else and you continue to go deeper. Arts, right?
It reads you.
Right? I mean, for real. And then arts, we all have a left brain and the right side of our brain, right? So we have the logic piece and we have that creative artsy piece. Neither one has to give away. How do you make that complementary and use both of them? So that's the education point. And then vocation, well, man don't work, man don't eat. How do you have a successful career, whether you want to work for somebody and continue to matriculate in an organization, or whether you want to start your own business, be an influencer, whatever, all of those things require education.
I completely agree. And that was one of the biggest driving forces of why we started Emerge, because we wanted that networking piece first and educational piece. Because I said, you could be so talented, but if you don't know how to run a business, your talent just stays there.
Yes.
It doesn't grow and other people can't benefit from your talent. So that's why we do these things, like talk to people like you and do the interview so you can give advice and tidbits so other people, our listeners, can grow from it.
Thank you.
So that's great. So why, and I know you guys have been around for 20 years?
Yes.
20 years. That's an amazing time span for your business. But if you remember 20 years ago, why did you start it?
Right. And, I'll say 20 years, but I just want people to listen and understand too that I've only been full time at it since about 2018 or so, right? Initially, I was like most people doing it part-time, sometime, whenever I could. When I first started, I was one of those kids who born and raised in Philly, one of the rougher sides of Philly, didn't feel validated as a child, felt like my father didn't, say, yes, you're the guy, proud of you and all those things, didn't have it. And then I lost him early, probably about 20 or so. He died of AIDS. And I think, I sought out validation in other ways. Thankfully, it was really in a corporate setting, right? So I sought out validation by trying to achieve a lot of things. And so I joined Chase probably in 2000, grew up in there, was a vice president, then a senior vice president, and then moved to the other side of the company to run a business and the credit card business, and then went to Allstate to be president of a business there, and then did a couple of things, went to a company called Legal Shield, was the president there, and then subsequently chief commercial officer. And during that journey, very fortunate to find that I was achieving a lot, but maybe the reason, the rationale, the driving force behind it may have been misplaced, right? And so I was able to find myself and say, hold up, get grounded. You're a believer. These are some things you need to do, by the way, counseling and whatnot. I'm always going to say, particularly to men of color, don't shy away from counseling and talking to people that can help you. But then that helped birth the book and the ministry. So birthed the ministry in about 2003 or so. And then along that way, I was helping other people, mentoring and whatnot. And that made me take all these copious notes that I had all over the place from mentoring and turned it into a book.
Okay, wow, that was not only a lot, but it just kind of tripped me out. It was a small mirror of my own life with my father. He passed at 19, but at 18, I began very ambitious job for a government contractor. And my plans were like, okay, I'm going to climb this ladder. And I did feel validation at that job because I didn't feel, like you said, that attaboy, attagirl throughout my life, right? And so I wanted to prove, I had a lot to prove. I had a child young. So funny that you say that. But I would like to ask you something with everything you've told us, so much personal background and just how it affects every part of your life, the education that you guys are doing. How do you administer these things and how did you come about that? Like, how did the structure of your business come, to fruition, I guess I would say? And what is like your advice to other people who are trying to start a business? How did that look? And are you currently in brick and mortar? Do you guys just operate online? How do you administer and operate your business?
So we lease space. We're in Wilmington, Delaware. We're in an office building. We have space. We have a few employees. It's not a ton of us. I would say, in our current business model, the large amount, I want to say almost a 90% plus focus is on Holy Culture Radio right now because we have several million listeners. It enables us to use that as a megaphone to attract them into those spaces we want them to be in, learning and development, so on and so forth. And you both know this very well. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but when you talk about wanting to educate people and wanting to help people with their career, we often have to start with small bits of information that attract them into a learning process, right? That attract them to education and wanting to learn more about their career. We can't just walk and say, hey, you need a career and, make them get going, particularly the younger generations without overgeneralizing. So, that's part one in terms of how we operate. Part two, in terms of advice and starting it, again, I said earlier, I was always part-time, sometime, anytime. So over the years, I would figure out a way to get the book done, to then, as I'm out speaking and earning a little income speaking that related to the book, see people take copious notes during my speaking engagement. And that led me to, we need a workbook to go with this as well, and get together with an instructional designer and create a workbook. And then as we're going through that, saying, well, maybe we'll do Zoom sessions and so on and so forth. We say, maybe we need also self-paced opportunities. So let's create the online version, right? And so on and so forth. So a lot of this was organic in terms of putting something out, watching how people were attracted to it, engage with it, and then trying to understand the needs and probe and figure out the needs and go from there. That's the other thing I would say, right, is having been in large organizations where we would want to develop a product or service and then spend tons of time, I call it pulling back this long slingshot and then think we'll release this product to the market and everyone will take it. Find, minimal viable product opportunities. Do the smallest thing you can do that demonstrates the value of what you want to give people and see how they take to it. And then you can pivot and adjust a little more easily if you take an MVP approach. And the last thing I would say is advice is figure out how you're going to fund it, right? One of the things I learned and that stays with me is there are really three major business decisions you'll always make. The investment decision, the finance decision, and the dividend decision. Is it in good investment? How can you figure that out and put that on paper in the form of a financial forecast along with all the qualitative things you want within it, right? The business case, and there's a true market form and all that stuff, the market analysis and so on and so forth. But then second, the funding decision. How are you going to finance this thing? Are you going to shoestring it? Are you going to mortgage your home? Are you going to go to family and friends? Are you going to seek out venture capital, so on and so forth? And then the third thing is the dividend decision. What are you going to do with the profits when you have some, when you get to that point? And so I would just say, when you're going to go out and do this, anything entrepreneurially, business-wise, chasing your purpose even, this doesn't, I'm even going to talk to people in the church for a second. Even if God has blessed you with this unbelievable vision, still use the wisdom to put together the business case and the story and so on and so forth so you can be on solid footing.
Yes, and yes. I think we are going to replay that clip multiple times so people can understand. I'm like planning. You have to have a vision. You got to know, like you said, your God's purpose and your God-given purpose. And you have to plan on how you're going to get there. And when you get there, what are you going to do with it?
Right.
So I thank you again for teaching those classes. And I did want to go back to say, I wish more people would take, their struggle and like you did and turn it into something positive, where you didn't go into the streets per se. You went and got your validation by achieving so many things. It might still not have been as fulfilling as you'd like, but at least it was on a positive note. So I'm like, take the negative stuff that happens in your life and turn it into something positive.
Yes.
is also a good lesson. So I know you've been on Sirius radio for a year, or will be a year.
Yes.
April 16th, correct? Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So how did you emerge or even decide to go from the radio to Sirius?
Oh, man. I'll try to give you the short version. When I left the corporate world in 2018 to say, I'm going to do this purpose chase. And by the way, it wasn't an overnight decision or while I was walking down the hallway, the light shined on me and it was, wasn't that. My wife and I had been planning this for years. I think at least 2007, 8 forward of, will we make an exit one day? Will you make an exit one day and do this? And the idea was yes. I mean, it was the reason I took the job at Allstate, to move from the Philadelphia area to go to that place in Chicago and do that job was a part of a stair step we felt to earn more, get closer inside the C-suite, try to impact people while I'm working, right? And so try to, even while I'm inside of a corporate environment, be on diversity councils, help change policies and things inside of the org to make it better for people and mentor people and so on and so forth. But at the same time, how could I be stepping towards the longer term? And so in about 2015 or so, got really serious about it. How are you going to leave? And was able to leave in 2018. And one of the first things that happened was, I think you start with a plan, and until you come out of the laboratory and put it on the street, you don't know how good the plan is going to work, right? So I come out, I'm ready. I'm in the nonprofit full time. I'm telling everyone, and I look around, I go, wow, there's at least There's 200 plus nonprofits in Delaware alone that are focused on similar things, directly or sort of indirectly, if that makes sense, right? And you say, well, okay, hold up. Let me think about this for a second. To go deploy curriculums at every school when other folks are doing that, I'm not sure that's the best thing we could do. And so we took a step back and thought about it and said, what we could really do that could be helpful is be a megaphone. Like, how can we get disruptive and create audio at a broad level that's going to help people? And people may say, well, why radio in this day and time? Well, because 90% plus people still use radio as a discovery source minimally every week, 90% plus. Christians are on the high side of that in terms of gospel music and such. 2, why Christian hip hop? Because 91 million people in the U.S. listen to hip hop music, 50+% of those being African American, and in our sweet spot of who we want to reach. Why necessary to be on Sirius XM? Because it's the only national signal 24/7 that you can get that has programming, both music and talk. And so for us, it was a tremendous opportunity if we could get the deal. And so we sought it out.
Wow.
I like how you can break down the numbers like that. I need you to come look at our radio show and break down the numbers for us.
Girl, I was just sitting here myself like, wait a minute, what did he say? We're totally going to church and school on how to get your radio station on a national platform. And I'm like, yeah, right. What you said, Finny.
Yeah. So you said you have a book, right? What is the name of the book and where can people purchase it?
Sure. It's called Success on Your Own Terms. You can get it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all those good places online. And again, it's about how you lock into your passion and purpose and take some practical steps to live it out.
And when did you release the book?
It was initially released in 2014. And then my publisher changed. I think they were acquired by another publisher. I had the great opportunity to buy out of my contract. And so we took them back over in 18 and now we republish it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Well, if you could let our listeners know how they can get in contact with you, your organizations.
Absolutely. So you can reach us at holyculture.net. That's the place I will send you because that's where we have so much going on right now. And anything you want to know about us, you can find there, holyculture.net. Go to the About page or the contact page. You can reach me on all social platforms at James Rosseau. That's ROSSEAU Senior. So SR on the end. And I'm pretty easy to reach. And I'll respond if you have questions, thoughts, comments, pearls of wisdom. I'm here for it.
Yes, we are here for it too. And I actually have a question for you now that we'd love to ask. It is actually our signature question here at Emerge. And that is, what does the word emerge mean to you?
To come out of the valley. We are all going to have valleys, and in an age of social media, what you see is the constant portrait of my life is perfect and I'm winning. I'm winning. And the reality is no one's life works that way. There are a lot of valleys, but you can always emerge from the valley.
That's right. That is right. Yeah, I think that's a good imagery and, a good reality check. Remind people social media is not real.
No one posts a picture of this is how I failed last week. These are the 10 things I'm struggling at. I just had my performance review, and these are all the things my boss told me I suck at. No one is posting that, okay?
Ever. And then if people do post some negative things, people are like, why are they posting that?
Right. I don't want that. Give me back to a cat playing a banjo or something.
Exactly.
Kev on stage making fun of someone. Like, I don't want that.
Right. Oh, man. Funny.
Exactly. Yeah. So we like the real. We like people to know business owners and entrepreneurs are not always happy. We have pitfalls, and then we have great triumphs at the same time. So
indeed.
Facts.
Indeed.
Yeah. Yes. We like it real. So thank you so much, James, for coming on, sharing with us what you do and what you do for others. We thank you, and we look forward to many great things from Holy Culture.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. It's been great.
Emerge yourself.
I'm Naheem Hines, proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom has muscular dystrophy, and the MDA helps her and kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan, and I'm 12 years old. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. And MDA funds over 150 care centers for kids like me.
For over 70 years, MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and related neuromuscular diseases. Learn more at mda.org today.
Unused prescription opioid pain medicines can spell trouble. They can spell risk if taken by someone they weren't prescribed for, harm if accidentally taken by a child or pet, or overdose if they're not used as directed. Safely dispose of opioids before they can hurt your family. Find a drug take-back option such as medicine drop boxes. You may find these in your community at local pharmacies or police stations. Visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Greg met his mother at their weekly dinner spot. She was about 15 minutes late because she took a wrong turn. They chatted through the meal and she mentioned that she stopped playing cards with her friends. After eating, she excused herself and asked directions to the ladies' room. Greg missed 3 warning signs of Alzheimer's. Did you? Know where Alzheimer's and all dementia hide. Learn more at alz.org/10 signs. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association.
Do you know what that is? That's the sound of your classmate forwarding a picture from your profile to everyone he knows. A college student downloading all your pictures to his hard drive. A teacher wondering what you were thinking. Some guys posting graphic comments about your body and what they do with it. Your neighbor printing out your latest pictures for his collection. A man spending some alone time with your picture while no one else is around. And worst of all, your dad seeing a photo of you topless, all because of the time you posted those pictures on your profile. Anything you post online, anyone can see. Family, friends, and even not so friendly people. So think before you post. For more information, visit www.cybertipline.com.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Justice, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
Emerge yourself.
You're listening to the Emerge Radio Show on WHOV 88.1 FM.
Welcome back. I'm Dorothea Schuler, and you're listening to Emerge, the radio show that's all about entrepreneurs and business and is the premier information source for business owners. If you're just now joining us, we spoke with James Rosseau, the founder of CoreLink Solution. Here at Emerge, we aim to keep you informed, educated, and up to date on all aspects of the business community, both here locally in the 757 and nationally. Okay, people, let's get to it. We all proceed throughout the course of our lives based upon a series of decisions. A decision is a conclusion or resolution reached after consideration. And divine means excellence. So we're making an excellent choice. With that being said, let's make the divine decision today to excel. The definition for the word excel is to be exceptionally good at or proficient in any activity or subject. Now, I want you to really listen to this, the biblical definition. It reads, exceeding some number or measure or rank or need over and above, more than is necessary, superadded, exceeding, abundantly, supremely. And that, my friends, is the motivation I want us to have as well. The similarity in meaning is there, but the choice of words and level of passion between the two is starkly different. And that's what I want us to do today. Think about the level of intensity and passion that we currently operate in. Can you say there is also a stark difference when you compare your gift and talents, your goals and desires with where you were last year and where you are today? Have you excelled or remained the same? Do you hold the same outlook using the same approach or method of execution when handling a task or project? Is it because maybe you're familiar with what works? And hey, if it ain't broke, then don't fix it. So with today's divine decision to excel, we must adjust our mindset. Are we okay with good but not excellent? With just enough and not more than enough? With maintaining the status quo and not excelling to produce greatness? Let's really ask ourselves, is the vision we've imagined going to require us us to excel in every area of our lives? Or do we think we will just get there by checking off the standard boxes on our list of to-dos? It's kind of like when you've done good all semester and now it's exam time. You know the weight of your performance on that exam will be the deciding factor for your final grade. Now, do you choose to excel by making time for extra sleep, scheduling office hours with your instructor to gain more clarity in those areas needed? Have you prepared your study space and mind not to allow distractions like phone calls, Netflix, or even social media? Have you prepared your schedule to allow the study time needed versus cramming it in a couple of nights leading up to the exam? Do you get where I'm going? When we excel, our spirits also excel due to the gratification we feel when we know we're receiving the best because we gave it our best. And God is able to make every grace overflow to you so that in every way, always having everything you need, you may excel in every good work. So join me today. Make the divine decision to excel, knowing this decision will help to shape and create a path that reflects a light of excellence in our lives. This has been another divine decision with Dorothea. You can decide to be a part of Emerge the radio show by submitting your response to our signature question. What does the word emerge mean to you? Share that on our IG at Emerge the Magazine. This week's response is from Sheree James of Newport News, Virginia. To rise out of obscurity, to be thrusted to visibility from the hidden place. Yes, I love it. To rise out of obscurity. So in other words, Sheree, to excel. Thanks so much for your perspective. You're listening to Emerge the Radio Show, and up next, we'll be speaking with Thomas Dudley of Dudley's Driving School.
Emerge yourself.
Hey, Thomas, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Good. We are so excited to have you on the Emerge show to talk about all the things you have going on and how you got to where you are. So if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I'm originally from Virginia. My family's legacy has been around since about 1959 in the Hampton Roads area. We have a driving school in the CDL industry. And, we've just been trying to help out in the community for, many years.
Okay. What's the driving school called and how long has it been in existence? How did it get started?
So the driving school is called Dudley's Driving School. So we have driving school and CDL school for truck drivers as well. It was actually founded by a woman, which was my grandmother, Sadie Howard Bell Dudley. She founded this school back in 1959, and she was actually one of the first Black-owned schools in Virginia during that time.
That is amazing. I did not know that. That's amazing that it was started by a woman. Go ahead, Grandma. I love it. So, and my daughter went to Dudley Driving School, so I'm excited. And,
did we do a good service? Did we do a good job?
You did. She drives it very well. Thus far. Let's hope it stays like that.
Yes.
So how did you get involved in the business?
Well, truthfully, believe it or not, I actually didn't want to be a part of it. That's a whole backstory, but I actually got into it maybe when I was around maybe 17 or 18. I was living here for a while, then I moved to Atlanta to do music with celebrities and stuff like that, and then I moved back here. But my father kept telling me, to carry on the legacy and everything. At the time, I was kind of like, I don't really know if I want to do that or if it's going to be beneficial to me in the future, but I actually ended up enjoying it, and I kind of got into it. I was helping a lot of people. Then I started looking at the industry and seeing that a lot of people needed CDL training, especially for our demographic. A lot of people coming out of prison that are incarcerated or people that are trying to change their career field. It was a lot of people trying to get into that. And I was like, well, let me open up something else that could be beneficial to the community and help people out.
So what did you move to Atlanta to do?
So I moved to Atlanta originally back in I would say 09 probably 09. But I was living there for maybe 4 or 5 years. I was a producer for an artist. So I was a songwriter and producer. I had a production deal with a group called Noontime that was signed to Def Jam at the time. So I was a music person. Then I moved over to the business side.
Oh, wow. Completely different field, right?
Yes, absolutely.
But do you find that you use some of that marketing and planning from your music time into your driving school?
Absolutely. Actually, I feel like I learned a lot, to be honest with you. It was just a lot of things at the time that were going on. And I think coming back to Virginia just to kind of help people in the community was the best decision I made at the time.
Yes, I know. We certainly appreciate it. So let's talk about more of the CDL portion of it. I know you said a lot of people that, were incarcerated or out now are looking to get their CDL license. So you're kind of helping people get back into society on a good foot. So how did you guys build that portion of your business?
Well, that part was kind of hard, to be honest with you. When we first got into it, it was a lot of people not helping as far as like giving us information on how to open up the school, because most of our competitors are a different demographic. And I was told a lot of things. In the beginning, I actually was like unmotivated to start it because my competitors had even they called me the N-word and different things because they didn't want me to be in the CDL industry with them. I just kind of made that into motivation, and then I just made everything into the best I could do for my company.
Oh, wow. That's absolutely crazy. I would never have expected that in a driving school field to go through all of that turmoil.
Yeah, but I don't really look at it like it doesn't really affect me. It's words at the end of the day. But yeah, so in the beginning, even starting out, I didn't really have any customers or anything. But like I said, I had met a lot of people in the entertainment industry, and one of my friends was D.L. Hughley at the time. And he kind of reached out to me and just asked me what I was doing with my life at the time. And I told him I was doing CDL school. And once he made a post about my school, that's what kind of got me the biggest exposure I needed. And then it kind of took off from there.
Thomas, so I know I've been quiet, right? But I have a question. So have you seen more people wanting to get their CDL since the pandemic? Because I know I have quite a few friends who've left the workplace, to start their own trucking company. So can you talk to us about any changes you've seen?
Yes, I would say that it is a big industry. They're always looking for drivers because right now it's they need trillions of drivers. It's not even in the billions or millions anymore. They need trillions of drivers. I think the biggest thing from when COVID hit, that's what really kind of pushed everything for everybody career-wise because, mainly if you didn't have a pretty much a job that they were saying that was, I forgot the name or the term that was, I don't know if it was, maybe you guys can help me out. I don't know the name of that term that they use. But you had to have a certain business that was needed at the time during COVID. But that pretty much prompted a lot of people to leave. I have a lot of people coming from the shipyard. I got some people in the military that's getting out of the military or just trying to get out of the military in general, trying to get their CDL. So, the industry is very prominent. It's actually bigger than real estate right now. Most trucks, even just having one truck, let's just say on a low note, you can make maybe $15,000 off of one truck. So if you're doing real estate and you got one property, let's say that you were trying to maybe rent it out, you might only get up to maybe about the highest, maybe 2,500 or more, just depending on, how big your place is or what amenities. But yeah, transportation is a big thing right now. Probably in the next maybe 10 or 20 years, it'll probably be even bigger. Right now, I think it's already taken off because there's so many people trying to change their careers to get into trucking right now.
That is completely true. One of my mentors actually just started his trucking company and he has 2 trucks so far. And my husband and I have had a conversation because he's like, I've always wanted my CDLs, but I don't know where to go. So now that I've made that connection, I can send some people your way.
Okay, that's perfect, man. I greatly would appreciate it. Yeah, I'm definitely accessible. I have trucks on the road as well. I have over 10 right now. Probably by the summertime, we'll probably be at maybe 30 because I have some other investors or whatever. But yeah, I could definitely give you some insight as far as what kind of things to do, because what I will say in trucking, it does have its ups and its downs. It's not always up all the time. So you just got to know the market. Sometimes you might have to do OTRs. Sometimes you might have to find some port work. It's just real seasonal. It just depends on what you're doing, that can kind of help you out. But I kind of got the ins and outs of everything.
So do you kind of guide people along the CDL journey, or are you strictly just giving them, training them for the CDL license?
Well, right now, that's actually what I'm moving towards. So probably within the next maybe month and a half, I'm actually going to be showing people a lot of different things. I'm going to show people how to actually open up their own CDL school. I'm going to show people actually how to get their trucks on the road, show people how to do loads. So I'm going to have a lot of different things probably within the next month and a half. I just got to shoot it with my videographer and everything. And yeah, that'll be out very soon.
I love it when we have serial entrepreneurs on the show, and it's you can kind of see their journey and how they start, with one thing and how they grow and expand on that. So what advice would you give someone else who's looking into serial entrepreneurship?
My biggest thing, I would probably say just don't quit because I feel with business is always the same thing, if that makes sense. You're still going to have have good days. You're still going to have bad days, but it's just the progression. Long as like if you hold out, it's going to work out for you. That's the best suggestion I would say. And then, it's just all about like your circle. I feel like a lot of people don't have the right circle around them to push them. My circle is very small, so I'm not really around a lot of people like that, and you don't really see me around. So when I come around, it's like for things that I feel like is important. I don't know. I would just say, keep your circle really, really tight with people who are in the same motivated thing, or be the person to motivate the person. If you do have a friend that's not like really there, sometimes people need guidance, like I did so many jobs. I worked at a call center for many years. I worked at UPS. I worked at CMOS. I've stocked shelves. I've unloaded boxes at different companies. So I don't know. I just always been a person that I just like working all the time, no matter what. I'm not like, I don't really have a bad ego as far as like, I'll pretty much do any job when I was first coming up. You just got to push through it because that's not the end of your outcome. So
that does always fascinate me about entrepreneurs and business owners, as far as like who has that, I guess, either hustle mentality. I've heard it called grit. Who has that? Where does it come from? Are you born with it? Can you learn it? Like, is it just a trait that runs in your family? So that always like amazes me to see people who like either never give up, always have like great ideas, or always pushing towards it. So I give you like kudos. So where do you see yourself and your company going in 5 to 10 years?
Truthfully, I think everything for me, I think everything is going to run, but I'll probably be more online based. I think for me now, I feel like my connection right now is just really helping people. I see my grandmother do that for so many years. I see my father do it. Like he's about to retire this year, and I'm about to retire my mom as well this year. So I just seen so many people like do a lot of things in my lifetime. And I kind of, I have children, so I kind of just want to fade out. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly, but I just want to spend more time with my kids and just kind of set up like an online business. And that's what I'll probably be primarily doing like for CDL schools and stuff. But I'll open up like most schools around the world. But everything else would be just mostly online and just expanding that and just kind of growing from there.
I like it. So tell us how we can get in contact with you, how we can follow your business, all of those things.
Okay. Everything would be Dudley's Driving Center, Inc. That's for Instagram, Facebook. You want to get with me directly, it's Thomas Dudley, I pretty much on everything as well. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everything. So yeah, so either Dudley's Driving Center, Inc. or Thomas Dudley, I. You can always reach out.
Awesome. So before we let you go, we do have one more question for you, and it is our signature question. And that is, what does the word emerge mean to you?
Emerge. That's deep. Emerge would be, it seems like a situation where you may be moving from something and then emerging into like the next thing of your career. Or it could even, I wouldn't even put it even just as career and daily life, like just where you are now and then emerging to the next part. Like I know in like the 48 Laws of Power, it talks about like recreating yourself. So I think emerge is really just looking at where you're at now and just emerging to the next level that you're trying to get to, whether it be in anything, friends, business, things you want to do spiritually, anything. I think just moving to the next level, sounds like emerge.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for talking to us about your businesses and what we can expect from you. It has been such a pleasure.
No problem.
Thank you. So exciting.
Emerge yourself.
As a truck driver, I've learned how important road safety is. I know that large trucks need more time and room to stop. That's why I always hang back and follow other vehicles at a safe distance. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. Next time you're driving, try to remember to always give trucks extra space when you merge in front of them. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Come to the Hampton University Museum and Archive. Free and open to the public, travel back in time and enjoy the masterpieces from the 19th century, the Harlem Renaissance, and even contemporary movements such as Afro-Cobra. We are home to the largest public collection of African American art. You can also admire the museum's special gems like the Liberty Pen, used by Abraham Lincoln to sign the Emancipation Proclamation. Founded in 1868, we're the country's oldest African American museum. Explore our 10 galleries of fine art from Pacific Islander to African to Native American. We also welcome students and educators to find over 10 million primary documents and photographs for curriculum research. We take pride in our national treasure and hope you do too. Call 757-727-5308 or visit museum@hamptonu.edu for more information and events. Keeping you informed, we are the essence of HU 88.1 WHOV.
Mom, can I have $1?
My purse is upstairs on my bed.
It's not here.
What about your sister's room?
Nope.
The upstairs closet?
No.
The downstairs closet?
Mom, there are no more closets.
I'm sorry, honey. It was right here all along.
Moms everywhere are finding ways to keep their kids active and healthy. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. Brought to you by the USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
Unlike other health concerns, mental illness is not always easy to see. Depression won't show up on an eye chart, and you can't measure it on your bathroom scale. Sorting out a mental health concern is not something to attempt on your own. You won't find a bipolar disorder by looking at a thermometer. Like many other health conditions, help for mental illness takes professional diagnosis and treatment. Anxiety won't just go away under a stick-on bandage. So the sooner you seek treatment, the better. If you or a loved one has a mental health concern, don't go it alone. Find out what to do. For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, call 1-800-662-HELP. Learn more at samhsa.gov/support. That's samhsa.gov/support.
It's Emerge Wednesdays on WHOV 88.1 FM.
I am Deshaina Kemp Garnett, and it's time for my 2 cents. Hello and happy Wednesday. Last week, I talked to you about pricing and how it can affect the profitability of your business. If you remember, I promised to provide you with some tips to come up with an amazing pricing strategy for your business. I am a woman of my word, so here we go. These are some of the tips I found when I was researching how to come up with a pricing strategy that will fit businesses. The first tip was to calculate your direct costs. Your direct costs include things like your raw materials, any freight or shipping charges, direct labor costs, and it's pretty much any costs that are incurred to produce a product or provide a service. So you need to understand what your costs are. Calculate the cost of your goods that are sold or the cost of your sale. The cost of goods sold or the cost of sales represents the cost of producing a product or providing a service that is already a sale. A simple way to calculate the cost of goods sold is to add up your raw materials or your product costs, your wages, benefits, things like that, and then you can make sure you have all your costs covered. One thing I found a lot was to understand what your break-even point is. So most business owners have a really good sense of what they need to recover when selling a product or providing a service, but they don't always factor in things like their overhead costs or things that ultimately affect profitability. So you need to make sure you have a good understanding of that. It could be things like insurance or professional fees. Things like that are going to impact your break-even costs. The break-even point is the amount of sales dollars you need to generate to recover all of your expenses and have a profit of zero. Of course, we don't want to have a profit of zero. We want to make money, but we don't want to lose money. So if you're just starting, whatever position you're in, if you're having a profit of zero, hey, take it because you're not losing money. All right, you need to determine your markup. The markup is expressed as a percentage of the cost of goods sold or the cost of sales. It's set to try and ensure that the company receives a high enough gross or profit margin to be able to pay its costs while also earning a target profit. So you're going to know the cost of your goods sold. You're going to understand your break-even point. So then you can easily decide on the size of your markup. The markups are the amount you add to your cost of goods sold to determine the price of the product or the service. While you're considering your markup, you need to know what your market will bear. You need to remain a student of your business. You need to understand understand the market you're in, right? So how much you can charge depends on your position in the market. And you need to decide ahead of time how you want to be positioned. For example, if you want to be the exclusive provider or a certain type of product or service, you're probably aiming to sell a low volume of things, but for a higher price. Or if you're looking for a high volume of sales because you're offering a different type of commodity or good, you're probably going to want to have your prices low so you can sell a lot and you have the opportunity to compete. Speaking of competing, you need to understand and know your competition. So learn everything you can about your competition. You need to understand what they're offering. You need to understand their prices. That's going to give you a good sense of the going rate, and it can also give you some ideas on how you can make your business stand out and be different. Last but not least, business markets change. The business environment is constantly changing. So you need to be revisiting your prices regularly. Make sure you're looking at your prices every 6 to 12 months. That can affect your goals and your margin if you are not making sure you're priced properly all the time. Just giving you a few tips to help you come up with an amazing pricing strategy. I am Deshana Kemp Garnett, and that's my 2 cents.
Here's what's coming up in Hampton Roads.
Let's take a look at some local and regional activities. We are so excited to announce that voting has opened for the Emerge Premiere, and it is opened until April 30th, 2023. You can go to emergepremiere.com/vote to vote for your favorite emerging entrepreneur, most influential, best nonprofit, most financial growth, and most social media growth. You don't want to miss out on this opportunity. A special thank you for the guests on today's show. To listen to past episodes of the Emerge Radio Show, visit emergethemagazine.com.
Emerge yourself.
You've been listening to the Emerge Radio Show. All opinions expressed on this show are that of our guests and may or may not be shared by the Emerge Radio Show staff. Follow us on Facebook. Search Emerge Radio Show. On Instagram, Emerge the Magazine, and online, emergethemagazine.com.